It is the popular saying that a healthy society is a wealthy one. On the Great Mind program, medical experts are available to provide solutions to various health challenges. You desire greatness in life. Successful men and women in the society are available on the Great Mind program to reveal to you the secrets to their greatness. The Great Mind of Nancy Oshogbo is a watch for all. Meet me on the program every Sunday between 3:30 and 4 p.m. Happy Sunday to you all. It is another exciting moment with me, Bola Olayode, on the program The Great Mind. If you recall, last week we discussed the forum meeting between the leadership of Osun Health Insurance Agency with the healthcare providers from the accredited private hospitals throughout the local government areas in the state. Meanwhile, this week, our focus is going to be on the forum meeting between the leadership of Osun Health Insurance Agency and the healthcare providers from accredited government hospitals across the local government areas in the state. Since it is the will of the Supreme Being that man should be in good health, body, soul, and spirit, productivity of a man is attached to the health of such fellow. This is also applicable to the society at large, as the saying goes thus: an healthy society is a wealthy society. The establishment of Osun Health Insurance Agency is in line with the actualization of the will of God for mankind. Osun Health Insurance Scheme is primarily established to improve access of residents in the state, irrespective of their socio-economic status, to quality health care without tears, as the agency is scheduled with the mandate of universal coverage of all residents in the state. The programs designed by Osun Health Insurance Agency to attain its objectives are formal sector social health insurance program, informal sector social health insurance program, organized private sector social health insurance scheme, and tertiary institution social health insurance program, popularly called TSHIP, as part of efforts to ensure the success of all the programs of Osun Health Insurance Scheme, aiming at making the residents in the state to have access to quality, effective, and affordable healthcare services on an equitable basis. Osun Health Insurance Agency is in the tradition of organizing quarterly forum meeting with the healthcare providers across the local government areas of the state for them to perform optimally to the advantage of the enrollees under Osun Health Insurance Scheme, and also to ensure the effective implementation of the policy statement made by the governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Nurudeen Jackson Adeleke, on the day of his inauguration, where he had among the promises made to the people of the state the expansion of the coverage of Osun Health Insurance Scheme. At the recent quarterly meeting between the leadership of Osun Health Insurance Agency, led by the Executive Secretary, Dr. Samuel Adeniyi Ogini, with the healthcare providers at the accredited private and accredited government hospitals, the Executive Secretary reaffirmed the readiness of Osun Health Insurance Agency at ensuring the full realization of the promise made by the governor on the expansion of the coverage of Osun Health Insurance Scheme for the benefit of the entire populace. It will be recalled that on the first day of the forum meeting, the leadership of Osun Health Insurance Agency met with the accredited private hospitals. It was the turn of the accredited government hospitals on the second day of the forum meeting.
Distinguished members of the press here present, it is my pleasure to welcome all of us to this meeting. This provider forums meeting is actually long overdue, but we believe that it is better late than never. The purpose of the Provider Forum's meeting is simply to communicate to our accredited providers the challenges that our enrollees have encountered each time they come to your facilities for service, and to also let you know the implication of these challenges to the success of health insurance and the threats that it poses to the achievement of universal health coverage, not only in Osun State, but in the entire country. We have received, in the course of our operations of this scheme, a plethora of complaints from our enrollees, which have actually discouraged them from participating in the scheme. And we know the consequence of that. If the residents do not have confidence in the scheme, then the scheme will die naturally. The success of the health insurance agency or any health insurance concern is hinged on the service providers. Because if the service providers do well, the person that encounters a service and that has a good experience will be the person that will continue to disseminate the good news and bring many other people onto the scheme. But where people have very bad experience when they encounter service in our facilities, then they will not only refuse to tell other people, they will tell other people that this scheme is a scam. It is 419. They will not re-enroll if they are formal sector or informal sector, participants. They will not re-enroll. And if they are formal sector, like many of us who are sitting here were government officers, they will not be satisfied, and they will badmouth the scheme. So we see this meeting as a very critical one to the success of our scheme. One of the objectives of establishment of Osun Health Insurance Agency, and indeed any health insurance agency that is social health insurance agency, is one, to ensure that there is improved access to care by removing barriers, basically the geographical barrier and the financial barrier that prevents people from accessing care when they need to. And health insurance reduces the out-of-pocket expenditure, thereby encouraging people to come and receive service even at the earliest sign of an illness. In fact, they are now being encouraged to even come and check themselves, even when there is no illness. They do blood pressure check, they do urine test, they know that these are capitated, they are covered. The most disheartening thing that we have seen over and over again, or that we have heard from our enrollees, who also have not only given us verbal reports, they have also written. They've written petitions against many facilities, including the government facilities, who are not treating them well. So we have come this morning to ensure that we rub minds together. We'll let you know what challenges these people have. And we discuss around what challenges you too have in delivering the services contained in our benefit package, whether in the area of the drug availability or other things, so that we can address them holistically. The one thing that I want us to put at the back of our minds as we discuss today is that every OSHA accredited government facility has experienced improved in their financing since this scheme started. Hospitals that were either told not even receive anything as running costs or even amounts invested into their renovation or rehabilitation or purchase of equipment and and infrastructure now have money coming on account of the number of enrollees that they have. But I have discovered that many of the hospital heads seem to have a completely different idea about what the money that is given to those hospitals is meant to be spent for. I have observed that we don't take any delight in hospitals keeping money when there are critical needs germane for the provision of quality service to our people. Whether those needs be in the area of human resource, money should be deployed to employing adult staff that will plug that gap in the meantime before the final solution. That's why the money is there. If it's an area of equipment, that is why we have our quality improvement plans, and we implement this quarterly. Those monies are meant to address those things that have to do with equipment. It could be the area of medicines and consumables. Those monies are to address them. Health insurance agencies and schemes are to relieve government a bit of the burden of financing, healthcare. By the time I show you some figures, some data, we will know that there are some adjustments that we need to do as people that run government hospitals that are accredited to provide service on our OSHA. One of the things that I will mention here before I give the floor to the others that will do their presentation is the issue of our drug distribution center. As a result of the incessant complaints of our enrollees concerning stock out of drugs in the facilities, they will get to the facilities and say, no, the only thing you can get is paracetamol. That is the only thing that OIS covers. And when we saw that this was causing a lot of problem, we approached the government, and the governor gave us approval to establish a drug distribution center where we stock medicines contained in the essential medicine list of our benefit package. These drugs are meant to be taken from the DDC upfront without payment. Deductions are to be made at the end of the month for the new month. This way, no government facility should have any problem giving our enrollees the drugs that are contained in our essential medicine list. The only thing you need to do is transport yourself from your hospital to the drug distribution center, collect the drugs so that you can serve our enrollees.
ICT unit in insurance scheme. I'll be talking to us about ICT development and structure. Please, let's move on. This talks about the establishment of the agency. Please, let's just go on. Because of our time. Okay, let me run through the functions of the ICT department. We do registration and enrollment, we do data profiling, we manage the call center, we also manage the cases database and website. We maintain ICT tools in accredited government secondary facilities. We provide ID cards for enrollees and also manage social media network. Please, yes. This is about the provider, those we outsource the ICT, part of the operational aspect of the ICT is outsourced to some external people who are managing it remotely while we are on ground. Modules in the OSHA ICT software, I have to say this because after now, just like the ES mentioned, we'll be marrying the facilities. We'll be unshaking the data in the facility so that everything you do real time can reflect at the back end for further necessary action. So on the module, we have the enrollment module that takes care of all categories of enrollment. We have the change of facility module, which takes care of enrollees needing to change facility.
And of course, they were meant to go as undercover agents with evidence, video and audio recording. And yes, they set out, they went about, it was meant to be an average of 3 to 4 visits to each hospital, depending on the level of complaints. Of course, for facilities with less complaints, maybe once, facilities moderate, maybe twice. Then facilities with the most complaints, they went about 3 times average. And it lasted for about 3 months. And after the 3rd month, they came back to give us the report. Of course, the report is what I'll be given today. I want to say that this report is not meant to, of course, dampen our spirit. It is not meant to probably, discourage us. It's meant to, for us to identify where we have issues and then how we can fix them. I must admit, some of our hospitals, they are doing good, fantastically well. And we still have others where we still feel we can still do better. We are lagging behind. So, as a result, I'll be giving that report.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. I know that everybody knows me, is that probably I'm a troublemaker. But thank you very much. And I want to single out Dr. Igalayi. I'm not sure if he's there. Yeah. So we are always fighting. The speed dial on my phone, the speed dial is 5. So because I'm always calling him, and thank you for managing a psychiatrist. I wonder if I had to be in your position. I don't think I will have this patience to deal with anybody because I'm always harassing him and he will always pick my calls. Thank you very much, Dr. Igalayi. So I'm thanking you in front of everybody, in front of the whole state, so that next time you will continue to be doing very well. So I really appreciate you. And for the OE staff that I've harassed, you know that I'm a humble person, but when it comes to my work and what is expected of me, there is nothing like that. I just have to produce results because the ES is always putting on my toes. There was a time he called me at 4 a.m. and I wonder what we were doing away too at 4 a.m. So he called me, and so thank you very much. I appreciate you, sir. But so the first thing I want to say is that I think that OEs too. Yes, you said something that we should bear in mind. I think the OEs as an organization should also learn to appreciate the effort of the healthcare providers. We are really doing a lot, at least in the hospital. When I was younger, in the last few, some years back, the doctors in State Specialist Hospital, I think they were about over 60. In that hospital alone, over 60. But now, we have about 15 doctors. What do you want us to do? What magic are you expecting from doctors, for God's sake. And I always imagine. And we see an average of about 10,000 patients every month in Ashigaro. So 15 doctors to see 10,000 patients every month. Excuse me, there is no way that any doctor can produce the first class services that you want the person to produce. So if a doctor is seeing about 300 patients every day at our emergency, do you expect that person to still be at his or her best? It's not possible. With your kind of, well, last time you approved that we should get a doctor. We have been looking for doctors who don't want to come because they know the challenge that they are going to see.
I was the only consultant on ground then because the second consultant just joined me last year in July. So I said, okay, I will mop them up in 3 weeks. I started seeing in 2025. The first week they gave me a list of 25. I was able to see just 20. It's only 20 people that are presented. Most of them will have been brought to us by their relatives, by the staff in the hospital that will have seen them. But their list will still be with John.
Some of the things you said earlier on, I want to say that most of these things you are saying, the HMB, at the HMB level, we try as much as possible. I'm not speaking for my guy, but I know him. That is a very proactive person. We are the one that we address most of these things at our own end, and we do. And you are saying something the other time that you withdraw some of our relief from the eye center to some. Please don't withdraw them. We address the problem. So we will address that problem. We find solutions to that. And concerning, I know most of the implementation of this thing fall mostly on the CMOs or head of hospitals. They are the ones that should own this vision and make sure this thing works in Japan. So, me and my guys, Disney, I know you will address that too. Maybe we have to be having meeting with the head of hospital to make sure they buy into this thing and implement it well. We get through that.
Just only suggesting that maybe the agency will move by accrediting a private pharmacist. I don't know if you can move your drugs there. So whoever doesn't get drug as a facility can go to such private pharmacies.
So I'm telling you a scenario where a patient will present without prescription and go with only paracetamol is very, very possible.
The idea of reconciliation exercise came about in NHIS because the operational guidelines were not being followed strictly. So I think the way to address that in particular may not be a reconciliation exercise. The first thing to address is prompt preparation and submission of bills.
If there is, you don't pay for any mishap, but if there is any mishap while conveying medicine using public transport, you will be sanctioned.
One of the major issues we have is that of staff shortages. And that has really impacted on the activities of the agency and the health insurance.
I want to say this on good notes because of my position and relationship that I have with the health sector, and also as part of my work in the human capital development in the states. There are two key sectors that actually fuel the human capital, which is health and education. You can be healthy without education, you are not complete. You can be educated without health, you are not complete.
The Executive Secretary, Dr. Samuel Adeniji Ogini, speaks further on the forum meeting.
Health insurance schemes are established to improve quality of service because I'll be monitoring. It is not business as usual. You see, we have every detail from your number of enrollees. We even monitor the trend of the enrollees to the number of encounters that you have in your facilities, to the amount you collect from them as 10%, to the amount you pay for you, to you as capitation, the amount you pay to you as fee for service. We have all of those records. We also conduct patient satisfaction surveys. we have reports of patient satisfaction of the services that we are providing. So there is no hiding place. As far as Osun Health Insurance Agency is concerned, our vision is to establish a world-class organization that provides access to care. World-class agency that provides access to care. And we are not saying it by words of mouth, we are walking the talk.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ sábọ̀lẹ̀ ètò yìí lédè abínibí wa. Tẹ́ bá rántí lọ́sẹ̀ tó kọjá ohun tí àjíròrò lórí ní ìfipòmùtò tó wáyé láàrin àjọ adétòbílẹ̀ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ elétò ìlera tó jẹ́ pé wúlá láti ilé ìwòsàn aládàáni. Lọ́sẹ̀ yìí ohun tí a ń pẹ̀kẹ́rù lórí ètò ni ìjíròrò tó wáyé láàrin àwọn adarí àjọ elétò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ elétò ìlera tó jẹ́ pé ó wá láti ilé ìwòsàn ìjọba tí àjọ náà fọwọ́ sí láti máa pèsè ètò ìlera pípé fún àwọn ará ìlú. Gẹ́gẹ́ bó ti ṣe jẹ́ wípé ìfẹ́ ọkàn Olódùmarè ni wípé kéèyàn máa wà ní àlàáfíà pípé ní ara àti nínú ẹ̀mí, nítorí pé àlàáfíà ni ìṣerere ẹ̀dá rọ̀gbọ̀kú lé lórí ilẹ̀ alààyè. Bó ti ṣe jẹ́ wípé ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí oríjorí bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló jẹ́ pé ó wà fún àwùjọ. Èyí náà ló ṣokùnfà ọ̀rọ̀ yìí wípé ìlera lọ́rọ̀. Ìdásílẹ̀ àjọ ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ló jẹ́ pé ó tẹ̀lé ìfẹ́ ọkàn Olódùmarè fún ìran ọmọ ènìyàn. Ìdásílẹ̀ àjọ ètò ìlera yìí sì ni ó tún wáyé láti jẹ́ kí gbogbo olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ní àǹfààní sí ètò ìlera tó péye tí kò sì gbomijé lójú ẹni, láláì fi irúfẹ́ ipò tẹ́nìyàn wà láwùjọ ṣe ní ìlànà sí àgbékalẹ̀ ètò ìlera àgbáyé. Ọ̀nà 4 ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ní àwọn ètò elétò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun pín sí fún àǹfààní ètò lórí tẹlẹ́mù láwùjọ. Àwọn ètò náà nìwọ̀nyí: ètò ìdójútòfò ìlera fún àwọn tó jẹ́ òṣìṣẹ́ ìjọba, ètò ìdójútòfò ìlera fún àwọn tí kìí ṣe òṣìṣẹ́ ìjọba, ètò ìdójútòfò ìlera fún àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ aládàáni àti ètò ìdójútòfò ìlera fún àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ níléèwé ìkẹ́kọ̀ọ́ gboyè. Láti rí dájú pé ètò ìdójútòfò ìlera ní àṣeyọrí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun, àwọn adarí àjọ náà a máa ṣe ìfikùnlukùn pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ elétò ìlera tí àjọ náà fòǹtẹ̀lù láti ìgbà dé ìgbà láti rí pé wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ wọn bí iṣẹ́ fún àǹfààní àwọn olùkópa nínú ètò ìdójútòfò ìlera ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Níbi ìpàdé náà tó wáyé lẹ́nu lọ́lọ́ yìí, akọ̀wé àgbà àjọ ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun dókítà Samuel Adéníyì Ògínní tó fẹ̀mí ìmoore hàn sí gómìnà lórúkọ gbogbo adarí àti òṣìṣẹ́ àjọ ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun fún àtìlẹ́yìn gómìnà Adémọ́lá Nurudeen Jackson Adélékè fún àjọ náà láti rí i dájú pé àwọn ètò ìdójútòfò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun gbòòrò sí. Sọ bó ti ṣe pọn dandan sí kí àwọn tí àjọ náà fòǹtẹ̀lù láti máa pèsè ìlera pípé fún àwọn olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ti ṣe ní láti ṣiṣẹ́ wọn bí iṣẹ́ fún àǹfààní gbogbo olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Níbi tí ẹ ó ti máa dá lónìí lórí ètò ẹgbẹ́ kájọ pàdé fètò yìí kan náà lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ láṣẹ Olódùmarè ọba àṣẹ̀dá. Ǹjẹ́ tí ìgbà náà ire.